Colin, do you want to tell them what you remember?
So I was downstairs in the basement, and it's hard to explain. It was kind of a heavy feeling. You know how you have those two hallways, the right and left? So around the right hallway, something kept pulling me towards that hallway. And as Mark was recording where the furnace was, I looked back to it and I could just see this mist just as tall as where the vents are, just standing there. They looked at me and then turned and went back in. So I was like, Mark, go that way, turn that way. And as we were asking the question, are you hiding in there? Are you on top of the stuff? You see this fall of white mist just jump out the window into the next hallway. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, Al, what did your team?
Well, my team was down there. What we found is that we were all sitting down at the stairs, and we had the spirit box down there with us. And we started
This is Pam and Joanne. Could you explain
a spirit box, what that pretty much does is it goes through different frequencies of white noise, and it allows spirits to be able to communicate through us through different frequencies of white noise. And you had a bunch of computer equipment down there, and it was making some funny noises, so I just kind of wrote it off as interference from the computer equipment. Well, so we were sitting there, just sat there for a little bit, and nothing happened. So we did have a laser grid and a camera set up down there the whole time. And when we were down there, we just sat there for a little bit, seeing if anything was going to happen. And after a while, I started trying to do an EVP down there. And didn't get anything for a little bit, and then after that started, sounded like someone took a big piece of wood and slammed it on the ground. And pretty much what my team did when we first went down there, we went through, we walked through, we looked at the placement of everything, so we know, because what my team does is when we go in there open-minded. So we go in there not to prove anything, not to disprove anything, but to just see what happens and come off a conclusion based off of that. Whereas Keegan's team, he goes in there to prove. And Josh's team, he goes in there to disprove everything he sees. So we try to cover all of our bases. But when we were down there, it sounded like someone slammed this piece of wood. Then we heard this weird squeaking sound. Okay, so went back there, looked, make sure nothing fell over, nothing moved, everything was still covered in a little coating of dust down there. And we were sitting there, and I started to continue the EVP, and it sounded like out of that little room right in front of the stairs, like wet rain boots walking out of there, clear as day. It was just so weird. And it was just clear as day, and it was real heavy and loud. So I called Colin on the radio, and was like, is anybody up there walking around, so I didn't confuse it with anybody. Everyone was either all the way upstairs, out in the barn, or down with me. And so Colin walked down and met us downstairs, and Colin walking down and all of us walking around down there wasn't half as loud as what we heard walking out of that room.
Did you catch it on your recording?
Well, I thought we might have caught it on Colin's camera, but Keegan said he didn't find anything on there, so...
But you didn't on your audio recording?
On the audio, we didn't catch it on the audio in there either.
And then, like, my group, when we were at the door, I mean, that's what we experienced. And we tried to keep up with that for, like, 40 minutes.
I still am trying to debunk that. I will go up there and I will jump in.
I was, like, jumping, like, in front of the door, and it went open. I would... like touch the walls around it or up top.
Up the bathroom closet, the bathroom.
The upstairs.
And the reason why we started to go near that door was Josh had seen a face in the mirror. And it was a man's face. And that's where we want to come to is we think there's a man spirit here as well. Besides Victoria. Like, I think Victoria's here because I had asked her to make a sign or anything, and I felt something brush against my arm in the basement. But we have EVPs from the barn and upstairs of a man. And he didn't like me at all.
Yeah.
At all. But yeah, and then here we didn't find anything on the night vision cameras or the DVRs, which is hard.
Yeah.
Like that type of evidence is very rare to come across.
Yeah.
We did find some anomalies, like this one, on like the camera.
You know, Wayne Dyer has it. Do you know who Wayne Dyer is?
No.
He's a self-help motivational guy. He has a brand new book out that talks all about orbs.
Yeah. Now, orbs aren't spirits. It's just balls of energy, which spirits can use to manifest. But as far as photos, that's all we got. EVPs, we got 7 EVPs.
Okay.
So we have a lot of EVP evidence, and all the other ones we didn't get anything.
Did you get the door opening and closing on camera?
We did not.